Hello, Meoni here and welcome back to another Primal guide. This time we're looking at 3.5's addition to the Warring Triad series of bosses within Azizlar, Zurvan. This guide is for the normal mode version of a fight, as to better understand it before you complete it for your quests, and of course some preparation for the extreme mode. Firstly, we face against Zurvan in what many, and myself, like to call the cake phase. This is a straight up easy mode curtain puller before the real fight. Basically, during this phase, Zurvan will need to be faced away from a raid. You'll need to avoid red circles on the floor, and you'll need to move off of the platforms that suddenly glow with an orange border around them. Failure to move is a death, as those segments of the cake fall away and are removed into the abyss throughout this phase. At the end of the phase, the last platform you are all stood on will be theatrically removed, and you will all fall into the room below, where phase 2 begins and the proper fight. Your second phase is a slight repetition of phase 1, as in you need to tank the boss faced away from the raid because of cleave. Your off tank should be focusing on as much DPS as possible in this particular phase, because there's no real use for him until phase 3. When Zurvan eventually casts the ability Soar and vanishes from the arena, your team needs to spread out. If you get an orb over your head, you need to move to the edge of the room and away from other players. As soon as these orbs explode, you will need to stack on whichever player gets a massive stack arrow, a sort of white-yellow symbol above their head, to soak damage. In short, you need to spread on Soar. Orbs come on people's heads. If you've got none, then you go back to the middle room in preparation for the stack. Those with orbs wait till they explode and come back into the stack in middle. It's the best way of doing it. Whilst you need to avoid the ground AoEs throughout the fight, you should definitely keep away from the direct position of the boss, as he drops ice AoEs directly below his actual place. Not long after the Soar ability and some AoEs to avoid, the boss will shout, "I shall rise above all," which signals the beginning of the next phase, which is an add phase. This add phase contains adds known as execrated wills and execrated wits. The wills should be moved and tanked next to the wits, since the wits do not move and they are casters and are incapable of moving. DPS should focus down the wits first, since they begin casting a devastating move called Mercadian Meteor, so they need to die before that happens. There are 3 waves of adds in total, and after each add wave is killed, the room is blasted with massive AoE damage, so make sure if you're healing you top everyone off before they die. This continues until the 3rd wave of adds, where on the 3rd, 2 execrated wills will spawn instead of 1. This will need to be tanked individually. One tank takes 1 will and the other will. The damage is too great for a single tank to both tank both adds. Again, you'll need to top people up before the AoE goes off from this death, and then you need to get ready for phase 3. During phase 3, Zurvan comes back, this time no cake, just pain. It's essentially phase 2 again, with the minor addition of an ability called Tire Thing. This is a very heavy single target damage ability, and you will need to watch out for this, heal through it, and even shield for it if you can. And for the last but not biggest addition, there are 2 buffs on this phase. One is ice and one is fire that are placed on players. 3 beams will appear on the screen, and you will need to stand in the beam of the same element or colour as your buff. So ice in blue beam and fire in red, obviously. This is fairly simple, and honestly this is still the best way to prepare for the extreme version of a fight. Once you understand the basic concept of these abilities, you can carry that on with the addition of learning the fight in Stone Sky Sea, which is heavily recommended for extreme. Thank you for watching, and I hope this was helpful, insightful, or some way useful. More guides, videos in general from the game to come, and I will definitely see you next time. Meoni out.